So what do you do if you only have 2 weeks before college applications are due? Well, if you're working with me through the college application process, I would give you 1, a day-by-day breakdown so you know what you need to do each day of the 2 weeks. Number 2, a simple essay tracker so you can stay organized. And number 3, I'd give you a simple strategy called the super essay strategy that allows you to write one essay that works for multiple prompts. So why don't I just give you those things right now? Day 1 is all about developing your college list. Now, don't skip this step, it's super important. Why? Because most students have schools on their list that are either very selective, very popular, or very local. And I want you to know that there are thousands of schools out there, and the average acceptance rate is higher than 65%. I paused for effect there. Also, you might be thinking, well, Ethan, I can't apply to a bunch of schools because I can't afford the application fees. Well, I'll share a link below this video where you can actually get application fee waivers. So you can apply to these schools for free, basically. So where do you find these schools? collegeexpress.com is one of my favorite resources. You can go to the website and type in what you're looking for, anything from engineering to theater to colleges most like Hogwarts, and they will give you a list of schools that are most like Hogwarts. Take all of your research, and I would say spend like 2 hours doing this. Put it all on a Google Doc called College Research, and then put it into a folder that you're calling College Stuff because you're going to use this for the entire 2 weeks. My advice is to find at least 3 schools that you not only love, but can actually get into. And by actually get into, I mean that have like higher than a 60% general chance of acceptance. Day 2, I want you to create your supplemental essay tracker and your Common App account. So your supplemental essay tracker is basically a free spreadsheet template that I'll link below this video, where you'll take all of your schools, put them on it, and then you'll go into your Common App account, which is basically the account that you'll use to apply to most of the schools that you'll be applying to. And essentially you'll go in, add your schools, and that's going to give you your supplemental essays that you need to write for each of those schools. Now, if your school isn't on the Common App, then you might need to go to that school's website. Heads up, you might need to click through the questions section of the Common App so that you can, find particular programs or majors that you're interested in, because sometimes that reveals different supplemental essays. So you'll take all those essays and put it on your supplemental essay tracker, so you'll have a sense of the work that you need to do over the next 2 weeks. And by the way, that might sound kind of simple, but it's gonna probably take you a little bit longer than you think. Day 3, brainstorm your personal statement if you haven't, and research your Why Us essay. So for those of you who still haven't started your personal statement, bless you, you got this. Click on the free guide to the personal statement linked below this video, and you'll find some great simple exercises for generating some ideas for your personal statement. For those of you who have an essay where the college is asking, why do you want to attend our school, aka Why Us? This is a day where I want you to spend at least an hour and a half researching your Why Us essay. You'll find a guide below this video and another video with the complete guide on basically writing your Why Us. And I want you to start filling in your research chart 2.0, which you'll find linked in that guide. Now, side note that not every school is going to have a Why Us or Why This College essay, but if you do, go ahead and start with the longest essay that you need to write. Because once you've written that essay, chances are that structure, that approach is going to be something that you could use parts of when you're writing other shorter Why Us essays. Day 4 is all about super essays. So this is a strategy where you're basically going to look at all the different essays you need to write and ask yourself, is there a topic like, robotics that you could use to write essentially one essay for multiple different prompts? Now, the value of this is rather than spend 12 hours writing 5 different robotics essays, you spend 10 and a half hours writing one really awesome robotics essay that works for all the prompts, and then you spend the other hour and a half watching, a romantic comedy or something. Day 5 is for creating your activities list and additional information section. So your activities list is basically your brag sheet. Some folks call it a resume, but it's essentially a list of all the awesome things you've been doing and these short, powerful descriptions for each one. And your additional information section is a place where you can explain pretty much anything that didn't fit elsewhere in your application, like why you got a bad grade in physics, or other extenuating circumstances, like why you missed school for those 3 months, or why you dropped this particular extracurricular activity. Or it's a place where you can expand on awesome activities that you didn't feel like you had enough time or energy to in those tiny descriptions for the activities list. For free guides to both of these, click below. Day 6 is a writing day, so you can work on your personal statement or your Why Us essay or your super essay, basically whatever you feel like needs the most work. And day 7, on the 7th day, God rested, and God knows that after doing all this writing, you should too. Day 8, it's time to get back into writing. So this is another writing day where I want you to pick up from where you left off and essentially work on personal statement, why us, or if you need to go ahead and finish your Common App, if you're feeling like, oh, I want to fill in all my basic information, today's a great day to do that. Day 9, writing. And this might be a really good time to go ahead and ask for feedback if you want to get feedback from somebody, whether it's a counselor, a mentor, a parent, a college essay guy, or a friend. So reach out to that person and let them know what your deadlines are. This is really important because if you don't tell them and they like get back to you a week later, it's not going to matter. Or even if it's like 3 days later, you're going to be like, great, thanks for the advice. I don't have time to incorporate it. So let them know, hey, I'd love to get some input if you've got time. I need to hear back in the next day or two. If you can't do that, don't worry. I have other people that I can ask, and then make sure you go ask those other people. But on this day, basically keep up-leveling whatever essays need up-leveling, because on day 10, I want you to go ahead and finalize your activities list and your additional info section. And you'll find tips on up-leveling those, again, in those guides that I mentioned below. On day 11, it's time to create what I call your almost done doc, because by this point, you are almost or should be almost done. So what you do is basically create a Google Doc where you put your personal statement, your activities list, your additional information section, and then your supplemental essays in whatever state they're in into one single Google Doc. So you can kind of zoom back and go, all right, this is the application that the admission reader is going to see if I were submitting today. Though you're not. You can basically look through it and go, okay, is there any repetition? Are there places where I could maybe, oh, that doesn't look so good, let me change that. And again, if you want to get feedback from somebody else, now is a great time to do it because it's almost too late. Day 12 is essay finalizing day. So if you have gotten input from other people, today is the day to incorporate it and to basically put the final touches on these essays, because whether they're great or not so great, they're going to be sent off in another day. So today is the essay finalizing day. Day 13 is your values scan and college list review day. So a values scan is pretty simple. On your almost done doc, you're basically going to highlight values that are coming through in the application. So let's say you do a fundraiser and you mention it in your activities list. You could highlight that and the value might be like, I don't know, helping others. Or maybe there's this cool like theater project that you were involved with where you wrote your own play and you talked about it in your personal statement. You might highlight that and put creativity. So essentially what you're going to be doing is tracking where do you see all the values that are coming throughout your application, your activities list, additional info, etc. Once you've done that, you should have some confidence that your application is revealing some awesome sides of you, so that's part of what that's about. But then I want you to go and I want you to do a review of your college list. Because here's how I want you to do this. I want you to fast forward like 4 or 5 months from now and go, okay, let's say your applications have not gone the way that you wanted them to go. In other words, you're not getting into not only the schools that you like were going to be hard to get into, but you're not even getting into the schools that you thought you were going to get into. And you're left with like one choice or like 0 choices. And you're like, oh, I wish I could just go back in time and like apply to more schools. And guess what? Magic wand, you can. Now is that time. Before you submit these applications, I want you to go to your college list and go, okay, could I add 1 or 2 more schools that A, I can probably get into, and B, I think I would actually like studying there. And what I want you to do is research to see what their supplemental essays are. Because chances are, if it's a less selective school, they might not even have college essays, or you've already written something, if you've done this super essay strategy, that's gonna work for those schools. So it's not gonna take you that much work, and you can maybe even get a fee waiver, so the application is free. Day 14, it's time to submit your applications, to kiss them goodbye because there's nothing else that you can do at this point. But congratulations, because you've done it by this point, or you will have done it. And yes, again, this is literally the 2-week plan that I would give you if you're working with me or my team. If you actually want to work with me and my team, you can reach out. We'll put the links below the video. But either way, I wish you the best of luck and more free resources on the website. Rock on.